What's up, guys? It's Lord Botha here with another video, and cable is a dying institution. Most of us get our variety of TV entertainment through streaming, whether that's through various streaming services or watching streams or videos here on YouTube like the one you're watching right now. And the fact that cable is dying because of this switch has become even more evident today because it seems like Comcast is doing something radical with their television stations. This comes to us from Business Insider. Comcast is getting rid of most of its cable channels, read the memo to staff. Comcast is planning to break off the bulk of its cable television channels. The plan to spin off some NBC Universal channels includes MSNBC, CNBC, USA, Oxygen E, Sci-Fi, and the Golf Channel, while the NBC, Bravo, and streaming service Peacock will remain under the NBC Universal. Comcast President Mike Cavanaugh announced in a memo to NBCU employees viewed by Business Insider. Now, some of you might be wondering, what does this actually mean? What the hell is a spin-off? Spin-off is what you get from an actual TV show on one of these networks, right? It's not anything to do with business. Well, actually it is. A spin-off is essentially when a large corporation decides to divest. It basically splits off a whole bunch of businesses, or in this case, television channels, puts them under a new company that is partially owned by the old larger company. They're going to have a large investment stake in this company. But the new company is completely separate and is traded different in terms of its stocks. It's basically a whole new entity that controls all these channels. It'll have a new CEO, CFO, COO, all that. A whole different business structure. It will be something completely different. And NBC Universal is setting it up to be its own separate thing. And NBC Universal is essentially looking for investor partners to help take on that burden of creating this new company. Quote, the well-capitalized, funded, independent company will be positioned to lead the changing landscape for cable news networks. Quote, the well-capitalized, that means funded, independent company will be positioned to lead in the changing landscape for cable networks given the strength of its portfolio and the quality and focus of its management team. Spinco will provide a diverse and differentiated content offering that will reach approximately 70 million U.S. households, making it highly attractive to investors, content creators, distributors, consumers, and potential partners. Mike Cavanaugh is basically saying, hey, we got a lot of really good assets here that have generated billions of dollars in revenue. So come on over and invest and get access to all of it, right? He's trying to sell people in this quote here. And I think he's also trying to schmooze other content creators, right, to join them. That's the first time I've seen somebody in this sort of high up network business use the phrase content creators in a quote, by the way. Content creators were just shoved in people at YouTube at one point. Now they're so important that they're being mentioned by billion-dollar parent company CEOs. The company will have significant cash flow, a strong balance sheet, and the financial flexibility to pursue growth opportunities both organically and potentially through acquisitions. That is him saying, hey, we're going to keep pumping money into this thing as long as we can get investors to come on with us. Also, we're going to grow organically and we're going to get people to watch us more. And hey, we might even purchase other networks and studios. We don't know. The point is here that cable has been behind for years behind streaming. And now they're being outperformed across the board when it comes to eyeballs watching. And now they are desperately trying to catch up. They tried very hard in their news networks, at least, to appeal to the niche woke liberal market. And guess what? Even less people are watching news on cable media now. This is why you've seen articles in the past couple of months come out about potential sell-offs of CNN and MSNBC, like you have right here with the divestment, the spin-off, right? This is why you hear about massive job cuts at CNN and CNBC and other places like this. Because people just simply aren't watching. And now they're trying to find a way to create a new company, right? Where there's going to be new heads that are going to do it differently and they're going to make it all right. What they don't understand is that this is essentially a battle of attrition now. Who is going to break first? Is cable going to drown in the sea of silence with nobody watching it? Or is streaming going to be forced to radically change and die as well and have to be reborn in a different way because the current model they have just isn't making enough money for a lot of these streaming services? Because let's not forget, Amazon is losing billions of dollars on their streaming service. And yes, part of it is to do with the actual content they're producing because, let's be honest, Rings of Power is absolutely terrible. And these networks that also have gotten into streaming, they still are behind the eight ball. They have really poor UIs because other companies have patents on their UIs already. So they have to be different, which means essentially worse, just because they're so late to the game. Which, by the way, if anybody's ever used Discovery Plus, they know that streaming service app has an absolutely horrifically bad UI. But like I was saying, it's going to be a war of attrition between the big streamers and the parent companies that own them and these separate cable networks. And only time is going to tell who's going to break first, who's going to have enough money to survive. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, appreciate you watching all of it. We'll talk to you again later.